to order the Guthrie Public Schools Board of Education regular monthly meeting, Monday, April 11th of 2022. Roll call, please.
Schroeder.
Here.
Flagg.
Here.
Pearson.
Here.
Davis. Here. Smedley.
Here.
Salee.
Here.
Mr. Vice President, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As we begin this meeting, let us pause for a moment of silence. Thank you. Okay, agenda item 6, seating of the new school board member, the oath of office.
Doug.
Repeat after me. I
I, Matt Gerard,
hereby declare under oath
hereby declare under oath
that I will faithfully perform the duties
that I will faithfully perform the duties
as a member of the Board of Education
as a member of the Board of Education
of the Guthrie Public Schools
of the Guthrie Public Schools
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
all of the duties pertaining to said office
all of the pertaining duties of said office
and obey the Constitution
and obey the Constitution
and the laws of the United States
and the laws of the United States
and the state of Oklahoma.
and the state of Oklahoma.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Okay, agenda item 7, recommendation, consideration, and vote on reorganization of the board, including election of president, election of first vice president, election of second vice president, election of board clerk, and the election of deputy board clerk. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Vice President, I move to approve the following slate of officers. President Travis Salee, First Vice President Ron Flagg, Second Vice President Chris Schroeder, Board Clerk Tina Smedley, Deputy Board Clerk Janae Pearson.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Schroeder.
Yes.
Flagg.
Yes.
Pearson.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Smedley.
Yes.
Gerard.
Yes.
And Salee.
Yes. Motion passes.
Thanks.
Clerk.
Okay.
We didn't even have to move seats.
Okay, agenda item 8, presentation of employees and student of the month.
Strobel?
We're about to wind down the year. We have one more month of May that we'll present, but do appreciate Blake Whimsy with Foundation Insurance for sponsoring, and he does a great job in the classroom. And so our student of the month was a Central fourth grader, Ember Radford, and she was nominated by Leslie Cotton and Greg Fries for the character trait kindness and dedication. Our support employee of the month was Fogarty Cafeteria Manager Misty Beauchamp, and she was nominated by Stephanie Anderson. And our certified employee of the month was high school counselor Annie Chad, and she was nominated by Christy Blakemore. So you can read more on Guthrie News page when Chris Evans gets the story up about why they were nominated.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, agenda item 9, student recognition.
Call on Mr. LeGrand. We have a special student recognition night. I'll let you take the floor and present him to us.
Dr. Simpson and members of the board, tonight we have a special presentation. We have a student that has qualified considered as a national merit finalist. And for those of you that are not familiar with the program, each year, these students will take the qualifying test as a junior, and based on the results of their score, they can qualify to be a national merit semifinalist and then ultimately selected as a finalist. And this is a very competitive, rigorous program and process, and from my understanding, and I was visiting with Mrs. Chad, this is the first time in 20 years that Guthrie High School has had a national merit finalist. So just a big, shout out to Dawson and his family and their support. So I'm going to ask Dawson to come up at this time. This is Dawson Salee, none other than the son of our board president, Travis. I'm sure he's a proud father, as he should be. But he has been a wonderful role model and mentor for all of our students at Guthrie High School, and we just want to recognize him. In fact, he's in the running now for one of the scholarships, and they give a certain number of scholarships each year to national merit finalists, and he's in the running for that. When will you find out?
Should be pretty soon.
Okay.
I think it's this month.
I was gonna say, I knew it was coming up where they actually make their finals scholarship selections, and so, anyway, we're very proud of him. And tonight it's a special treat. Kayla Flagg is here, and she has a special citation. She is representing Senator Chuck Hall at the state capitol, and she has a special citation that she's going to come up and share with us at this time as well. So Kayla, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Well, I do want to say congratulations to Dawson, and we're proud of your accomplishments. Senator Hall and I are tag teaming tonight. Guthrie schools are a very busy place tonight. Senator Hall is on the judging panel at the FFA speaking contest tonight, and so he asked me to come and do this for Dawson. So I'm going to read the citation. Citations of congratulations to Dustin Salee. Whereas Dustin Salee of Guthrie High School in Guthrie, Oklahoma, has been named a 2022 National Merit Scholar finalist. Whereas Dustin Salee is one of more than 1.5 million high school students who entered the program this year and is one of 15,000 selected finalists nationwide. He was chosen for demonstrating through distinguished performance high potential for future academic accomplishment. And whereas, insomuch as students like Dawson Salee, are the future of our state, the Oklahoma legislature takes great pride in recognizing those who excel. Now therefore, pursuant to the motion of Senator Chuck Hall and Representative Gary Mize, the legislature of the great state of Oklahoma extends to Dawson Salee sincere congratulations and directs that this citation be presented.
Well, thank you.
Future accomplishments.
Yeah, do. Dad coming too.
Here you go. 3, 2, 1.
That's really neat.
Dawson, I want you to know that we're very proud of all the work you've done academically, and we also know that you work hard, not just in the classroom, but in extracurriculars, and we appreciate all that you do for Guthrie High School and the recognition that you brought us with your hard work. Thank you.
Well, thank you. That was very special. And as a father and as a board member, I'm very proud, obviously. And, you know, Dawson's worked very hard. And I think it's hard to believe he's a senior. You know, the years have flown by. I've been on the board now for 10 years. So Dawson was in second grade when I came on the board. And I think about the various teachers that have had an impact on him and have really recognized the talent that Dawson had over the years. And appreciate that. I hate to name names because there's several, but there's some that really made an investment in him, and we appreciate that and are are very proud of you, Dawson, so congratulations, and I know you'll do great things in life, so. Okay. Agenda item 10, comments to the board by citizens registered to speak.
We have none.
Board members? We have none. Okay, agenda item 11, the superintendent's report.
Okay. Dawson, you don't have to stay, but if you want to see Dad try to run a meeting, you're more than welcome to.
I'll tell you how exciting they are.
I couldn't resist that. Oh, boy, that's good stuff. Okay, so we got a lot of good news here to share tonight. We started off well, and we got some other really good news. On Wednesday, March 30th, the Guthrie Educational Foundation distributed 46 grants to teachers in our district totaling $41,000. Also, each building teacher of the year received a $100 gift card. And I look back on my notes from the past, and that's almost double what we were able to do last year. And that's a lot of hard work by the Education Foundation in raising money to support our teachers. So greatly appreciate them. And then the next day, on Thursday, March 31st, the United Way of Logan County held their postponed banquet. This past year, our CFO, Michelle Chappell, served as president, and Assistant Superintendent Doug Ogle was honored for his work this year as campaign chair by receiving the Newcomer of the Year award. Others within the district who are active volunteers to the United Way include the Director of Alternative Education, Jonna Benson, High School Principal Chris LeGrand, and myself. And so, again, we're very active in the community with that organization, and we also are very sensitive to the fact that a lot of the work that they do supports our students in many ways. And so, great job by our staff there. Last Wednesday, many of our district administration joined over 200 people in attendance for the grand opening celebration of the Meridian Technology Center, South Division campus. I think we even had a couple of board members there maybe, and we greatly appreciate the partnership our district has had with Meridian that spans 49 years. And but the fact that they now have a physical presence in our community speaks volumes to their commitment to Guthrie. Saturday was the annual junior-senior prom at the Dominion House, and according to Mr. LeGrand, it was uneventful, which is what we like in a prom. And then this is something that's very important. I know we've been getting a few questions. Thanks to our ability to have distance learning during the weather events that we've had up to this point in the year, we will not be in session this Friday, April 15th, and it appears also for Friday, April 29th. I qualify that because you wouldn't think we would have a snowstorm or anything that would come in, or an ice storm, but I also know that I've seen a 100-year flood 2 years in a row. And so you never say never, but as of right now, we'll be off on Friday, and then Friday after next, the 29th as well, as long as the Cottonwood Creek doesn't rise. That's my report.
Okay, thank you. So the next agenda item is the consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve?
We'll need to pull one item. We'll need to pull the minutes of the March 7th board meeting.
So do we have a motion to approve consent agenda minus item A, the regular meeting on March 7th?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Schroeder,
Yes.
Flagg,
Yes.
Pearson,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Gerard,
Yes.
Smedley,
Yes.
Salee,
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Do we have a motion for agenda item 12A, the regular meeting held on March 7th?
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve consent agenda item 12A.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Schroeder,
Yes.
Flagg,
Yes.
Pearson,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Smedley,
Yes.
Gerard,
Abstain.
and Salee.
Yes.
6 ayes and 1 abstain.
Agenda item 13A, the recommendation, consideration, and action upon contract for auditing services for the 2022 to 2023 for fiscal year 2021 to 2022. There is a $150 increase in fees.
This, we've been with this firm for 10 years now, and recommend that we stay with them for this year and then probably explore potentially going to look for another firm after this year. But I would caution the board members to remember that there are really only about 9, I think, firms in the state that are approved to perform audits on school districts. And so it's not like you throw out a big RFP and have a whole bunch of people come in and give you presentations. So recommend approval of this, and then we'll look for a potential different option possibly next year.
Mr. President, I move that we approve the, what am I at here? The Putnam and Company, that we approve the action contract for auditing services for 2022-2023 for fiscal year 2021-2022 with Putnam and Company LLC.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Schroeder,
Yes.
Flagg,
Yes.
Pearson,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Smedley,
Yes.
Gerard,
Yes.
Salee,
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Okay, agenda item 13B, recommendation, consideration, and action on district policy F5, transfers.
This is, we were supposed to have done this before the 1st of April, according to our policy. But we're still learning about the transfers, and since we're not accepting any at this time anyway, we're okay with this. And as I found out from speaking to some of my colleagues, we were not the only school district that missed that deadline. But I'm recommending at this time no change in our capacities, and this is an item that I will need to bring to you 4 times per year quarterly, so that, and if we do have a recommendation for a change, I will provide that. But as it stands right now, I recommend no change, and, but it does say that we are to take action on that. So I guess we need a motion to take no action.
Mr. President, I move we take no action on district policy F5 transfers.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Schroeder,
Yes.
Flagg,
Yes.
Pearson,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Smedley,
Yes.
Gerard,
Yes.
Salee,
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Agenda item 13C, recommendation, consideration, and action upon growth and development presentation by Logan County Health Department for 5th and 6th grade students at Guthrie Upper Elementary.
And this is actually just going to be for
Just 5th grade.
just 5th grade students this year. Because if you remember, we lumped 5th and 6th grade last year because of COVID, because we had missed them when we were out. And so this will just be for 5th grade students this year. That was a typo in the agenda. But this is something that is required by the State Department, and the Health Department does this annually. And if we have any questions, Mr. Ogle is familiar with the program.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve?
Mr. President, I make a motion that we approve the growth and development presentation by Logan County Health Department for the 5th grade students at Guthrie Upper Elementary.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Schroeder,
Yes.
Flagg,
Yes.
Pearson,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Smedley,
Yes.
Gerard,
Yes.
Salee,
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Agenda item 13D, recommendation, consideration, and action upon request for special education students to attend State Special Olympics Summer Games, May 11th through the 13th of 2022.
Page 42 is the request from Ms. Young to, this is a good sign. We're getting back closer to normalcy. You remember, we've taken somewhat of a hiatus from Special Olympics, and we're thankful that we can move forward with our Special Js, and their the recognition and honors that they deserve participating in the Special Olympics, and would recommend approval. And if you have any questions, Ms. Young is here to answer them.
Mr. President, I move that we approve the request from the special education students to attend the State Special Olympics Summer Games, May 11th through 13th, 2022.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Schroeder,
Yes.
Flagg,
Yes.
Pearson,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Smedley,
Yes.
Gerard,
Yes.
Salee,
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Okay, agenda item 13E, discussion, consideration, and vote to authorize the superintendent to negotiate a contract with selected construction firm for construction manager at risk.
We, as the commentary indicates, we had property committee meetings twice to narrow down and then make a recommendation to the board for a construction management firm. The way the process works is it's similar to when we selected an architect, and it's been so long ago that we'd all kind of forgotten, or maybe weren't even on the board, but we can't have negotiations with them until there is a firm selected. And so I've asked Jennifer Bennett Johnson to join us this evening. She thought she was off the board, but she's back. She's just got a chair down there tonight. But as we all know, she is very well versed in the construction industry, and she was on the property committee during the entire selection process, along with Tina and Gail. And so I would, and the decision that we made, and it was a consensus, unanimous decision, is Centennial Construction, and they have offices in Stillwater and Oklahoma City, and then they have a national presence as well. We entertained 5 submissions, and there was a clear separation with those 5, with 2 that were finalists, and those finalists were invited for an in-person interview. And then I would defer and for sharing thoughts, the 3 others, and others that participated in this, Michelle Chappell, Doug Ogle, and Cody Thompson. We were all in the room together. So.
Yeah, so I appreciate the property committee kind of doing the heavy lifting here, and Dr. Simpson and the staff. And Jennifer, thank you for coming back for one more meeting. But I guess I just kind of wanted to hear a little bit of discussion about how we arrived at the final 2, kind of what the, you said there was a clear standout between the 2. What were the things we were evaluating them on? How was it that they stood out from the rest? And just kind of thought process through some of that. Honestly, we just kind of like to hear some of that discussion. And so you had 5, you cut it down to 2. So kind of curious how you narrowed it down to 2, and then what it was that really set Centennial apart from the rest of these.
You want to go first? You want me to go first?
It doesn't matter. I mean,
Oh,
I'm sure Gail and I mean, because we kind of talked about it.
yeah. There was 4 gentlemen that came in, and we had tables set up down below there, and they were very professional. It was a exquisite interview, I thought, that, we asked questions, they asked questions to us. It wasn't a formal, like PowerPoint where they kind of, I mean, we asked questions, they answered, and then that would, it was just a very professional dialogue between them, or between all of us. They stressed, there was a few things we talked about, safety, and they stressed safety. We didn't even, have to bring it up. They're a national firm, their ability to get products that they could pull from other parts of the country that we might be having trouble in our area, but they can call somebody in Georgia, or, and they were able to get products. They brought in a guy from Dallas, they brought in a guy from West Virginia that was very knowledgeable. They haven't done a lot of schools, but the guy they brought in from West Virginia was knowledgeable on schools. They had built something, and maybe Jennifer can remember that it kind of stuck with me because I'm like, well, I want to do that. It was some project that had, it was like a daycare or something, and because safety and, you know, they're already getting questions at the school, how are we gonna have school, have construction, keep everybody safe, you know, et cetera, et cetera. And they said, you know, after things, you know, progressed, on Friday, they take all the little preschoolers or whatever, it was something in the building, you know, they all, you know, got the builder hats on, and they showed them, you know, what they were doing after they, you know, cleaned everything up. It was, you know, very, very safe. But then, it, you know, it made the kids feel a part, and then they weren't trying to, you know, possibly sneak in and, you know, see what these, you know, guys were doing. But, I don't know, they were just clearly, it was just good conversation, very knowledgeable. They worked at OSU, initially came in 20-something years ago. They got a 5-year contract, and then after 5 years, they got another 5 year, another 5 year, another 5 year, and they just renewed another 5 or 6 years. And I mean, you know, they were just honest, and okay, I'll quit talking, I'll let someone else talk, but
Well, as I say, and I'll step back a little bit further, because I'll go back to when the original 5 that we had. I mean, because basically, I mean, when we came in and we got those original 5, I kind of sat down in that first meeting with Mike, and I said, you know, well, you know, this is basically just like an interview. You know, you can put anything on a piece of paper, and I mean, it's kind of difficult to distinct, you know, how to differentiate between these 5 different ones, because they all sound good on paper. But, you know, when you really get to the nitty-gritty and the nuts and bolts, you know, how do you really know who's going to really be able to do the job? And so that's where it really kind of became difficult. So, you know, we kind of collaborated with Cody and Mike, and I kind of, you know, I mean, there again, I don't have an extensive construction background. Mike has worked with some of these firms before. Jennifer has worked. Cody has worked with some of these firms before. So, you know, we kind of talked through some of these things. Some of the things that I pulled from some of them, you know, some of them seemed very big. Some of them seemed very big, too big for Guthrie Public Schools. Some of them didn't seem like a good fit to me. You know, there was things that stood out. So that's where we kind of collaborated, and we pulled it down to where we came down to the final 2 that we felt like as a whole, that all of us as a group agreed that the 2 finalists, we collaborated and felt like were a good fit for us. And so we then decided that those were the 2 that we wanted to bring back as, you know, our final interviews. The 2, we relied also on Sean from our architect. I mean, truly, I mean, he was a big part of some of the knowledge that we used for his background. I mean, for the background in the construction. Phasing, obviously construction, what am I trying to say? Safety, construction safety. Management format was a big one that I have all my notes here that I wrote down. The handling of challenges. These were all things that he said, those are key notes that we want to make sure are brought up during the interview. Well, when Centennial did their interview, that was not one question that we had to ask. They were on point, and they were making those points, you know, before we could even ask those questions. And so it was just, I mean, they were very, very impressive. And those are the ones that I'm going to rely on Jennifer. This is the company that Jennifer has worked with before. And so she knew them. And so it was just very, I don't know, they were very knowledgeable in the way they presented themselves. The other company that we interviewed was very good as well. I mean, I am not going to downplay any of them, because I really think any of these companies would do, or either one of the companies that we selected at the end would do Guthrie Public Schools a very good job. we just felt like that this was a little bit better fit. One of the things that really struck a chord with me when we got down to it was because of the current climate with construction right now, their national presence and their ability to pull resources from a national, say, if they needed whatever, I'm just gonna throw something out, I don't know that this is what they'll need, but windows or whatever, some sort of specialized metal, they might be able to call their office in California and say, hey, do you have a supplier that has this? And they can get it. And they said that they have been able to, rely on those resources more than once throughout their projects. So that was a big thing that I really was impressed with. They also, their safety. I mean, they really, really talked up their safety. Now, Gail said that they don't do schools. They don't do schools in Oklahoma. They do schools in Virginia. They do them very well. One of the gentlemen that they brought in, that's all he does, is schools in Virginia. So they have resources. They have people that if they run into challenges, that they could. They were at OSU. I think that what they do at OSU and what they could do here in Guthrie, I think is very similar. I think it could, really,
Yeah, it's good information from both of you. I mean, that's what I was curious about, it seemed like you get 5, you get down to 2, they all kind of offer the same
yeah,
level of
absolutely.
services. But what's their value proposition, I guess, that would differentiate them from others? And I heard you talk about the national presence. And because, as we all know, supply chain issues are a real problem in construction.
Yes.
Something I'm sure Jennifer deals with daily. So I'm curious how much of that factored into the decision as far as how they are mitigating the current climate,
Right.
for materials and things.
Mr. President,
Yeah.
knowing that I was going out of my term, I love Guthrie Public Schools. So even though I'm no longer a part of the board, I still will be supporting the school district. And as such, I actually recommended Centennial. I've worked with Centennial for 12 years, doing renovation construction projects at OSU. And I know how they work, and they have a partner approach, and they will be there to listen, they'll be there to guide, and they'll be there to advise. Ultimately, they'll do what you guys ask them to do, but they have a wealth of resources locally, and that's why Bruce, the gentleman that will be overseeing the project locally, I know where he lives. I know that he will take care of you guys.
Well, and he said he drove by Cotterell on a daily basis, because he lives down by Deer Creek. I thought, well, that's a good, at least he knows where he's gonna be working.
And he thinks through projects like nobody I've ever worked with. So I think he will really try and navigate any challenges that you might encounter. He will think through the process. He'll probably overthink the process just to make sure that everything is within his control is covered. So from my perspective, I knew that I was going out. I made the recommendation that they interview or apply for a letter of interest. I tried to let them sell themselves. So during the interview process, I knew what they could offer, but I felt it was important that the district understand that. So I didn't participate much in the interview.
She
because I
didn't,
wanted-
and I will vouch for that.
I know there was some-
Jennifer did. She did not, she basically, she didn't,
For both,
she let them speak for themselves. You
I just
didn't speak at
want
all, hardly.
Jennifer said to be-
No.
Feel apart.
But they were very impressive. He was very impressive. When both interviews were done, it was, for me, that's what I told Jennifer. I said it was a very clear difference on who I would have chosen.
I will interject here that Mr. Ogle and I both have worked with the other finalist with me in multiple projects. I think Doug's maybe just one, but so we came in knowing what the other finalist was capable of. And I think, I don't want to speak for him, but I know that I was swayed in favor of Centennial based on their presentation and the anecdotal evidence provided by Jennifer of what she's been through as well. And then with me personally, that national presence right now, I think is something that sets them apart along with their longtime local presence. Because I've worked with an architectural firm that had a national presence but not a local presence. One of the things, as I looked through their initial response to our RFP, they listed local companies in this part of Oklahoma that they use as subcontractors, many of which I'm very familiar with. And they are of high quality. So I could tell that they do a good job of vetting who they have as subcontractors. And that to me, because I think we all know that if you have bad subcontractors and if you're on a GC or a construction management and you don't have somebody that uses their due diligence there, you end up with something that you don't really want. And I could tell that they have a high-quality subcontractors. Doug, you and Cody and Michelle were in there.
Well, I think the thing that stood out to me was, they've been in Stillwater for 22 years, and we know what the university and the quality of work that they require, and for them to keep those contracts, just because they wasn't present in Oklahoma with public schools, that was because they were putting all their energy into OSU and making sure they were pleasing them, but I think they would like to have a presence with public schools. And the thing that stood out to me is I think we're gonna be that poster child for them with public schools, and we're gonna have a top-notch school built, and people will wanna come and look at that to use their firm again.
Yeah, one of the things that he did say was that they're not out just shopping for business. They're looking for relationships. They want to build relationships as well. So that was one of the things that also impressed me about them.
And it's equally important from what I'm hearing, what I'm seeing is that we take advantage of this to help facilitate a continued positive output from our community as we look at this as another chapter in what we do.
Absolutely.
And then we get it right so that we can
Absolutely.
move forward and we don't have to look back.
Absolutely.
And keeping in mind, and sometimes I've got to remind people in the community that we fast-track this selection because we're looking at starting, depending on how you thought we might start, at least 2 years early. But we also know that our need is great. We need that school done yesterday.
Yeah, and to Ron's point, I mean, we've learned how important it is to have a good partnership with the firm like this, so it's kind of why I wanted to talk about it as a board and have an opportunity to hear y'all share and convince us, why they're a good firm, how you arrived at your, determination, so.
Well, I
appreciate
mean, I want everybody to be as equally confident with this decision. I mean, because I don't want it to just be on 3 people. I mean, it should be, it's a board decision. This is for our whole community. So, I mean, it's as equally as important that you guys are comfortable with this decision
Well,
as it is for the
you
rest
s-
of
yeah,
us.
hearing you say that they came prepared, and you already had kind of that checklist of things that were important, and that they had already were prepared to address those,
Yeah.
tells me that they're probably a right fit culturally and for the district, so that was a very
Yeah.
interesting point that you
Yeah.
made.
Yeah.
So Jennifer, thank you for coming back out tonight.
Thank you, Jennifer. We like seeing you. You can come every month if you want to.
Okay.
Well,
We don't have anything else.
I know myself and the board, I'm sure the entire board, certainly respect your opinion, and
Absolutely.
it's been a
Yes.
tremendous, asset to the
Absolutely.
to the district and to the board while you were here, so, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, do we have a motion on the table yet? Okay.
I appreciated that.
So do we have a motion for the CM at risk?
Mr. President, I make a motion for the superintendent to negotiate a contract with a selected construction firm, Centennial, for construction manager at risk.
Second?
There's a motion and a second. Quick question, so on the negotiation, so I know generally the fees kind of are pretty standard for the industry. I mean, any concern there, or was any of that discussed at all?
I can't, as an agent of the school, do that. I know that Jennifer can speak to what they have done in the past.
That's, and, yeah, we probably don't need to get in the weeds there. I would just, okay.
I will tell you this, if it is anything that is out of the realm of normalcy for what has historically been construction manager at risk, we will come back together. I will not pursue any further.
So you'll negotiate a contract and bring it back to the board for
Yes.
approval later? Okay,
Yeah.
very good. Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Schroeder,
Yes.
Flagg,
Yes.
Pearson,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Smedley,
Yes.
Gerard,
Yes.
Salee,
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Okay, agenda item 13F, discussion, consideration, of possible action to accept the bid for Guthrie Heights renovations.
Okay, on April 4th, we opened bids for two separate projects, and keep in mind, these are general contractor bids, not construction management at risk. The first was for the renovation of the high school restrooms. This was originally a bond project that we anticipated would be either this summer or next summer. Well, we're going to fast track this and assure that it's this summer. But it's probably going to take longer than just this summer. And so at the pre-construction meeting that we had with the pre-bid meeting, the firms that were there, they all kind of discussed some of the things that could be done to safely route the kids and how we would phase this with regard to the summertime and everything else. This, because this money, because we're doing this with COVID, mostly with COVID money, we can use a little bit of bond money. This project is a little bit over our original budget, but we feel confident that we have enough contingency money with some other areas, with things that were originally identified with other areas with COVID money, that we've got plenty to cover this. So my recommendation would be to accept the bid from Lambert Construction for the base bid of $1,539 and also the alternate bid of $12,000.
Okay, do we have a motion to,
Mr. President, I make a motion that we accept the bid from Lambert and Company and the alternate bid?
Yes.
Yes, okay, so the base bid of 1.539 and the alternate bid of $12,000 from Lambert and Company.
I'll second.
okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Schroeder,
Yes.
Flagg,
Yes.
Pearson,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Smedley,
Yes.
Gerard,
Yes.
Salee,
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Okay, agenda item 13G, discussion, consideration, and possible action to accept the bid for Guthrie Junior High HVAC project.
Okay, and the scope of this project is, if you remember, this is the individual units within the classrooms, along with the piping that goes throughout the junior high building. We've already replaced the boilers, thanks to last year's ice storm. We've replaced the chillers. We've done a lot of work on the periphery of the supporting this, and this will be the final phase to this. And this was originally a bond project that, because of the conditions of COVID money, we can use COVID funds on this. Our original budget on this project was 1.605, so we're under budget by about, I don't know, 120,000, give or take some change there. And we're very pleased that Innovative Mechanical is the low bidder. They are the ones that we have worked with at GUESS. They've done a lot of work at the high school and a lot of work already at the junior high. And we keep going with those folks, and they're going to have they're going to know where every heat and air unit is in the entire district. But they are very conscientious and do a great job of working with us when they have to do work during school. And we've been very pleased with their work and their professionalism. So I would recommend that we approve, accept the bid to Innovative Mechanical for the junior high HVAC project.
Mr. President, I move that we accept the bid from Innovative Mechanical for the Guthrie Junior High HVAC project.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Schroeder.
Yes.
Clegg.
Yes.
Pearson.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Smedley.
Yes.
Gerard.
Yes.
Salee.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Agenda item 13H, recommendation, consideration, and action upon Edgenuity Virtual Classroom, which has rebranded and is now called Imagine Learning for 2022 to 2023.
This item, we worked through committees, and Mr. Ogle has worked with this company. And we have been with this company, I think this is their third brand that I can remember in our time working with them. We've used this very successfully with students in grades 6 through 12, and would recommend approval, and Mr. Ogle can answer any questions you might have.
Do we have a motion to approve?
Mr. President, I make a motion that we approve Edgenuity Virtual Classroom, which is rebranded and now called Imagine Learning for 2022-2023.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Schroeder.
Yes.
Clegg.
Yes.
Pearson.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Smedley.
Yes.
Gerard.
Yes.
Salee.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Agenda item 14, proposed executive session for the purpose of discussing employment of personnel, FMLA request, resignation, separation from employment, and transfer of position request, all as set out on the personnel reports. Discussion of extra duty assignments as listed for 2021 to 2022. Employment of career and probationary contract teachers as listed for 2022 to 2023. And discussion of teacher negotiations for 2022 to 2023. Disclosure of which information would violate the confidentiality requirements of state and/or federal law, all pursuant to 25 Oklahoma Statute, Section 307B, 1, 2, and 7. Do we have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Yes.
Schroeder.
First, I'm ready. Yes.
Clegg.
Yes.
Pearson. Pearson.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Smedley.
Yes.
Gerard.
Yes.
Salee.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Okay, agenda item 14B, we'll acknowledge the board's return to open session. Only items in agenda 14 were discussed in the executive session, and no votes were taken. This shall constitute the executive session minutes. Agenda item 15, vote is on action as set out on the personnel reports.
Mr. President, I make a motion that we approve the personnel reports.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Schroeder.
Yes.
Clegg.
Yes.
Pearson.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Smedley.
Yes.
Gerard.
Yes.
Salee.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Agenda item 16, action upon extra duty assignments for 2021 to 2022.
Mr. President, I make a motion that we approve the extra duty assignments for 2021-2022.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Schroeder.
Yes.
Clegg.
Yes.
Pearson.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Smedley.
Yes.
Gerard.
Yes.
Salee.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Agenda item 17, action upon recommendation to employ career and probationary contract teachers as listed for 2022 to 2023.
Mr. President, I move we approve to employ career and probationary contract teachers as listed for 2022-2023.
Second.
Motion and second. Roll call.
Schroeder.
Yes.
Clegg.
Yes.
Pearson.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Smedley.
Yes.
Gerard.
Yes.
Salee.
Yes.
7 ayes, 0 nays.
Agenda item 18, recommendation, consideration, and action to accept any resignations offered since the posting of the agenda.
We have none.
Agenda item 19, discussion of possible action on new business not known about or could not have been reasonably foreseen at the time of the agenda posting.
We have none.
Agenda item 20.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Schroeder,
Yes.
Flagg,
Yes.
Pearson,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Smedley, Gerard,
Yes.
Salee,
Yes.
7.